Hi everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back once again with another review, continuing Avengers Week. We're going to take a look at a figure that, well, set of figures that kind of slipped under my radar because I forgot they were around. The Target exclusive Captain America First Avenger 2-pack. This featured Winter Soldier, aka Bucky, and Captain America, as well as a comic of Captain America Comics number 14. Now, that was after they reset the comic, God knows how many times, so it's probably closer to issue 600. I don't know. But anyway, this was the issue where Winter Soldier remembers being Bucky. Now, for those of you who are comic book fans, you might remember the controversy about bringing Bucky back. That Bucky, for years, the saying was the only two comic book characters that stay dead are Bucky and Captain America. Well, they brought Bucky back, and it was kind of interesting. And you know, in a way, it was kind of surprising that they didn't do it sooner. But that's just me. I've removed the tray just so you can see the background a little bit better. Star, blue, that, patriotic type motif. Chris Evans as Captain America, even though I should mention this is a comic series and that the figure, as you'll see, is a comic series version of Captain America. On the back, here's a cross cell. You can see the photoshopped image of the figures, photoshopped image of the comic. As well as the other Target exclusive 2-pack, which was the ultimate version of Captain, well, not the ultimate, but the version of Captain America with Bucky in the costume and Crossbones. I might pick this one up eventually, but I'm in no rush as I'm not really a big fan of that Bucky Cap costume, and I was one of the lucky ones to get Crossbones when he was released as a single pack figure. Let's take a look at that. Take a look at the figures in the tray. Here they are. And I'm just going to give you a quick look. We'll obviously go into these figures in detail, but one thing I do want to point out, and let me zoom in to do this, is these are in neutral poses. No restrictive bands really pulling back on the figure. And this is how I like to see figures packaged, because there's no way for the joints to be damaged. And the weapons usually don't come out warped, which is important with Marvel Universe figures since they tend to use a cheaper plastic when making the weapons for the figures as opposed to G.I. Joe. Now, enough of looking at the pretty packaging, let's take a look at these figures. We're going to start off with what I consider the weakest figure of the pack. It's not to say that he's a bad figure per se, just not as interesting as Winter Soldier. This Captain America should be very familiar to collectors of the Marvel Universe line. This mold, I think, has been used at least twice before in a single pack and then in a comic 2-pack with Wolverine. In fact, I do believe this is actually the same figure that came in that Wolverine pack due to the finish on his paint, which we'll get to in a little bit. For articulation, the head is on a ball joint. It can go up and down ever so slightly. Arms have full rotation, swivel at the shoulder, just knock the shield off, and bend at the elbow, rotate at the elbow, no wrist articulation due to the gauntlets. He does have an ab crunch that allows him to rotate left and right, but unfortunately, the minimum of back and forth movement. Now, for his legs, he unfortunately has that Marvel joint where you have to rotate the ball joint to make it go forward and out to the side. Out to the side, that's about as far as you're going to go. And if you rotate the leg to go forward, the design of the ball joint is such it will make him look a little bow-legged. Moving down, there is a calf swivel, no thigh articulation, or maybe I have that backwards. Thigh, no, I don't know. There is an ankle pivot forward and back, and a rotation at the ankle joint, but absolutely no side-to-side ankle rockers. As you can see, Cap comes with his shield that, clips onto. I like to clip it onto his left arm. You can clip it on the right arm. In the comics, it goes back and forth just for um, artistic merit. It can also be removed and flip the clip down. It reveals a peg, hole in his back that you can then plug the shield in on his back for storage. Coming in, you can see that metallic blue sheen I mentioned earlier. That leads me to believe this is the same figure from the Wolverine comic 2-pack. A on his head, white eagle feather wings or what have you. There's some slight paint scuffing on the head there. Unfortunately, that can't be helped. I'm and fossil in the wrong syllable. And just going down, you have this nice red, white, and blue finish. Very shiny down to the legs. I really was disappointed that this had the Marvel joint, as I think its normal ball joint would have worked best, but that's what they were using at the time. Not sure if I mentioned he had the double jointed knees, but there they are. And down to the boots. Like I said, this is the weakest figure in the set, but by no means a bad figure. Let's go ahead and take a look at Winter Soldier. And here's the Winter Soldier. This is a repaint of the figure that came in the single carded wave with a jetpack. Now, I don't know what relation this figure has to the Marvel Universe Bucky. I do believe that the body is predominantly the Marvel Universe Winter Soldier with the variant long hair head. But, if I'm not mistaken, that figure had a molded left hand that was in a fist. And this guy has a trigger hand. So I do believe there is some retooling there. Now you can see he comes with a very nice assault rifle that also I'm pretty sure came with crossbones. He also has, in a holster on his side, I want to say this is a Luger. Yes, I do believe this is called a Luger pistol. I'm not sure, but it fits nicely into his hand. Molded trigger finger, holds it well, and yeah, so he can really, wields the pistols. Both weapons are featured in the comic, which is nice. Let's remove them right now for a articulation demonstration, which is pretty nice. Ball jointed head. The hair does limit the movement forward and back. Does have that ab crunch, but like Captain America, minimal movement forward and back, but he does move further than Cap. Arms, full rotation, swivel joint. Rotate at the elbow, bend at the elbow, rotate at the wrist. And unfortunately, he too has the same Marvel type of leg joint. Rotate the ball for it to go forward and back, and then you have to rotate the ball to get it out to the side. Although with him, the sculpting of the ball isn't bad, so you can leave it in whatever position, and his legs won't look bowed. Double jointed knees. Um, does have that calf rotation, but it's unfortunate it ends up rotating the ball joint more than the individual leg. Usually what you have to do is rotate the ball joint, push it into position, then rotate the leg back to get it where you want. Now, coming down to his feet, he does have ankle pivot, but the design of the boot is such, it's practically useless. Coming in, take a look at Winter Soldier in more detail. You can see the nice, shaggy, long hair with those little bangs that are reminiscent of Bucky, that black mask, his web gear, which is all molded on, as well as a secondary holster with a non-removable handgun. Um, nice, it's all a dark blue with a black wash over top that you can really see in detail on his arm with the Russian star, all that. Um, Brown paint used for his little pouches and the rest of the web gear down to the holster. And then the blue with black wash continues down the leg to his boots, which are black with some silver accents. So this is really a nice looking figure. Um, and I think it's a little bit better than the Marvel Universe version of Winter Soldier. Almost slipped and called him Bucky again. Bucky and Cap are great figures. This was a fun comic pack and a great way to get a couple figures for a decent price, even though I got it on the secondary market off of eBay. I can actually recommend this version of Winter Soldier over the single carded release, just because I think he comes with more weapons, and I like the finish a bit better. It's more comic accurate. This cap, if you don't have them already, which, I don't think is that many people, it's worth getting. But in the Captain America First Avenger line, there were a lot of better figures. Um, or I should say better versions of Captain America. Alright, or really just more interesting. Yeah, I'm stumbling over myself today. Gotta love it. All in all, I can recommend this. I wouldn't pay more than $20 on the secondary market, which I didn't do. This is your old pal Chuck for Winter Soldier and Captain America. We'll see you next time. And have fun with the drinking game of how many times I called this guy Bucky. Take care.